and special co-host Anthony Gona with a yellow cup with a smiley face. He's here today representing. If you don't know John Jackson, in his bio that he left on my website, he says he's an exotic dancer.
I did.
Do not. That's not what he does.
Oh, I was going to say, I didn't realize you were still doing that.
I stopped when I lost the ponytail.
Oh man, the mullet kind of faded.
Dude, I used to have beautiful hair. Beautiful hair. You would have been jealous, Daniel.
It's still beautiful. What do you?
But yeah, so yeah, I used to have a beautiful locks of hair, and finally cut it off. But anyway, that's not why we're here today.
I don't know if you cut it, but I mean, it's going.
Well, good to see you guys. And first and foremost, y'all have built such a community with Hive Mind. You've done a phenomenal job at that. I've watched y'all grow since, I don't know about inception, but I've seen y'all grow. It's amazing to see the community brought together. I was honored to be able to spend a day with you all at the Hive House. I guess, I don't know if that's what it's called, but at the Hive House. And the people that you all brought together there, the speakers, the audience, everything, it was just perfect because the content was just flowing and flowing. The audience was engaged. They were getting massive value. And to be able then for them to talk to the speakers and the people in attendance there, it was just great. I loved the size of it. It wasn't a 400 seat ballroom. I loved that. I'm actually going back to the basics. I've done many 3-day events with 70, 100 people in the audience, big ballroom, the whole, the stage, the lights, the cameras, the whole thing, the smoke, all that stuff. And they're fun, but I did my last one in October of last year, 2022. And so I'm not doing another 3-day event again because they're very, very, they're a beating on the people doing the event because you sign that contract with that hotel or whatever, and you're on the hook for whatever it may be, $6, $7, $8, $10, $12, $15,000, whatever.
Yep.
And from the time you sign that contract, you're worried about, will I get butts in the seats? Will I get butts in the seats? And then when they get to the event, will they sell? Will they sell? Can I sell them, the upsell, the coaching, whatever the product is that the person's selling? And you don't know. And it's very, very stressful. So not doing those again. I am going back to the basics though. And that's why I think it was phenomenal that I got to be part of your event, because my event, I'm doing an event, I don't know when this podcast will go out, but I'm doing an event in December, a 3-day event. But I'm going back to what I loved, which was the boardroom, where there's 8 people in a boardroom, and we're just unloading on them massive content. But it's more than the content education. It's about the relationships they build. It's about how they get to really be immersed in our world and us in their world. And before they leave, they've got a business plan to execute when they get home, cater to them. Where do they live? What's their work? What's their week like? What do they work at 9 to 5? Okay, let's craft that around that work week. And so I'm really excited about that too. And the cost of the boardroom is not $15,000. And I just love that intimacy. And that's what you all brought to the Hive House, was that intimacy. So I loved it.
Hey man, we're glad that you came. Super appreciate you, man. And you bought breakfast for everybody. So
yeah, I did.
Yeah. Who did this? We didn't plan it, so that was super nice of you, man. Awesome gesture. Just speaks to your character. We're glad that you came, man. It was cool to go up there and chat and make everybody laugh. That was awesome, dude. You brought amazing energy. A lot of people mentioned you. Who was that guy? So yeah, I think you carried with you, man.
This show is sponsored by Hive Mind CRM. It is more than just a CRM. It is a real estate and business mastermind that comes with an all-in-one CRM. You can have unlimited websites and users. You can call, text, RVM, and email all in one user interface. And you can set up custom automations for any type and multiple businesses. 65% of companies start using a CRM system within the first 5 years of business. Once implemented, the Hive Mind will save you on marketing, give you more time, and make more money. One of our users had his first $100,000 month using our system in June. We want to see you automate and accelerate your business. Text us at 210-972-1842 for future meetings, and of course to get our $1 course on how to make more than six figures on one land deal. You can schedule your free demo today at hivemindcrm.io.
So I'm glad. I'm glad you made it, and I'm glad that you liked the event. I was telling Daniel, I really like the idea of like the mansion mastermind as opposed to like the room, right? Because we can run ads for 3 months or 4 months, and you run $10,000 a month in ads or $5,000 a month in ads, and yeah, you'll have 300 strangers in the room, but you don't know what they do, what they're selling, where they came from. But this room was filled up with people that came in organically, right? These are people that have been around the community for a long time. And I really like the value in that, is that the people that are here wanted to be here because they've been following us and interacting with the community, as opposed to like they saw a cold ad, on Twitter or something. So really cool. I think even if we scaled it up, maybe just a bigger mansion, like 7,000, 10,000 square feet, and there's 150 people or 200 people, you still have that same level of intimacy, makes for a different environment where people can lounge around on the couches, that kind of stuff. So it was just a really cool experience for us too, man. So I'm kind of glad you saw some value in that.
Oh man, it was massive value. And I'd be careful to make it bigger too quick, because you can fill that house quickly. I think with the audience that you have and with what you all bring to the table, and especially now that people have been to that one, I don't know how many you had before, man, you're going to get repeat people back in there. And so I think when you make it a little more exclusive, like it was, hey guys, we only have room for however many people, it'll sell out fast, and they know that they've got to get their seats, and they know that just from the community, the value that it brings. And so I'd be a little bit careful about trying to go bigger too fast, which is interesting because Daniel and I were talking about my project coming up later this year, podcast called Should I Scale? And some of the just the crazy dynamics and the crazy world that we live in as entrepreneurs, whether you're in real estate or anything, and how it affects us and how that affects the family, particularly the spouses. Really interesting. So we can talk about scaling if y'all want to. Some of the mistakes I've made, I'll be very transparent there. Some of the lessons learned from trying to scale a business. And I think, I don't mean to take over this whole conversation here.
You're good. He's been in real estate for 20 years, so you could teach us something, and I think you'd teach our listeners something too. So
yeah,
I think we're all
kind of just free flow.
Yeah, so I'll give a 30-second bio on me, then we'll kind of pick up the conversation on scaling. So I've been in the real estate business since 2003, so 20 years as of this recording, I guess. 20 years just focus on lease options. After 2005, became known as the Texas lease option guy. Still to this day, I'm the only guy that teaches lease options in Texas, and so even the very, very, very well known educators will send their students to me to learn Texas lease options, or they'll even come to my trainings, which is flattering, to learn Texas lease options. I started training people in, I think, 2008, 2009, where I would charge, $3,500, $4,000. People would come to my house, spend 3 days with me, and I would just give them the keys to the kingdom on my company, Leasing to Buy, because we specialize in lease options. We've since, grown since then. We do a lot of seller finance, subject to, but I'm still known as the lease option guy. Even when I started training people, going back a little bit to the scaling part, back in 2010, I had a number of people. I was on many years ago. I was on a forum, a real estate forum, specifically for lease options, and I had a lot of people on there saying, "Man, I want you to train me. I want you to train me. You need to put on an event." I didn't know anything about putting on an event. So I was like, okay. And I look back, I have no clue what my thought process was. All I knew is that all these people wanted to come to a training. I went to the Hilton in Southlake, signed a contract for it wasn't a big ballroom, but it was a, decent sized room. And I still remember that first training I ever did for a group of people. Nobody showed up. Not one. I don't know, looking back, how I expected to collect money from them. I had no payment portal. I had nothing. And I had a ballroom for myself for 3 days. The hotel felt so bad for me. They gave me a little bit of a discount. And I thought, oh my God, I should just run around. I own this ballroom for 3 days. I should get a bottle of 1942, run around naked, play 80s music, do whatever I want to do, because this bitch is mine for 3 days. but nobody showed up. And then
one person showed up.
Not one person showed up.
How did you do marketing, or how would
it was just through this forum?
You were just advertising on an online forum, and you thought people were going to show up, and it just
because they said, "Oh, we want to be there. We want to be there," and so they pushed me into doing this. But this is very important for your audience to listen to. Most people would have said, "F this, I'm not doing this again."
Yep.
That's not how an entrepreneur thinks.
Yeah.
Or like, screw it, I'm going to do it again. So I did it again. I think later that year. This goes back 2010, and I had one person show up. So for 3 days, it was just me and that guy, and he got one-on-one coaching from me. And for 3 days in a ballroom, he sat on the front row, thankfully.
How many seats?
There was probably 40 seats in there.
Man, that's incredible, dude.
And one person.
Me and Daniel have had some very similar humbling experiences, and I don't mean to cut you off. I'm just we know what it feels like.
Yeah, you get your head handed to you, but you also get your ego handed to you, and that's a reality check, So then I went back to the drawing board and did a boardroom, like what I'm doing in December. And we had, I guess, 8, maybe 10 people, and they paid, at the time, $3,500 each to be in that boardroom. And, of course, they got the keys to the kingdom, nothing held back. And we all loaded up in my Ford Excursion diesel, went and looked at some houses, met with some sellers. So they got real life in the trench, in the trenches experience. Then in 2013, I think, or maybe 2014, some of the big boys, in the long time educational space found out about me. One of them in particular, I'm not going to mention names, got me on stage and wanted me to speak at these events he was putting on, big events, 300 people, to sell at the time I had a $1,000 CD.
Oh wow!
And for the young people in the audience, it's a disc like this. It's flat, silver. We used to put audio on them.
Reflects in the sunlight.
It reflects in the sunlight. You can hang them from your mirror if you're really cool. If you got a 74 Monte Carlo, but no offense, Anthony. He wanted me to come speak on his stage to sell my $1,000 product. And I was like, oh my God, this is huge. This is going to be amazing. And what I didn't know is right before I was going to go up, they took a break. I was up in my hotel room getting all these CDs. Like, oh my God, I'm going to sell whatever, like 20 CDs or something out of this big crowd. And I thought, I'm doing math in my head. Oh my God, it's $20,000. Even if I split it, blah, blah, blah. But what I didn't know is when I went up to my room, he told the audience that anybody that bought his high ticket coaching package, however much it was, I don't know, but anybody that bought that got my stuff for free. I don't know this until I'm going back into the ballroom, and this lady comes out and tells me, oh, hey, who's going to buy? She goes, oh, hey, I know you're about to go on. I don't need to buy your stuff now. We just got it for free. I was like, you did what? So that was my first experience into the big guru world. And
I was not going to pay you your cut for your stuff. He just added yours on as a freebie and didn't pay you.
Yep.
Oh, amazing, dude. That's another good kick in the pants.
Yeah. So that's a serious kick in the pants. And when you talk about leaving there, I didn't sell one. I mean, how could I? You just gave it away for free.
Yep.
But that's a kick in the teeth for sure. But from that, did a bigger event. I don't know how many people were in that room, probably 80 people. There again, though, I'm going all out at this nice hotel. I'm probably in it for $24,000-$25,000. No idea if I'm going to have one sale or not. We ended up doing okay on that event. But yeah, that really leads into the whole idea of scaling a business, which I know I hadn't planned on talking about on this podcast, but since we're waiting for Anthony over there to get his crap together, Daniel and I were talking and about my project that I've got coming up this year. That brings me into scaling. And, social media is, first of all, people have to understand the majority of what you see on social media is a lie. It's what people want you to think. It's what people want you to believe about them. There's a saying that says, desperation screams, confidence whispers. So I want you to remember that when you're seeing people that you follow on social, where every post is about how great they are, bragging about their the big checks and this and that. Let me tell you something. I know people that are multi-millionaires, right? Not one time will you see them ever post on social their credit score. Not one time will you ever see an orthopedic surgeon brag on social media about how he did a hip replacement. Why? That's their freaking job, guys. That's their freaking job.
$3 hip replacement, guys.
Yeah. Oh, I just did another hip replacement. Boom, mic drop right now.
Doesn't ring the same, right? It doesn't ring the same.
It doesn't. So I say all that because you have to know how to filter what you see on social. And the big term right now is scaling or going big. Oh, I got to go big. Got to scale.
Yes.
And if you've never even done a deal, you're not scaling shit.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're doing 2 or 3 deals a month, maybe, and you want to scale, you have to be very careful that you're not scaling chaos. How firm is that foundation that you've laid with your business? Where are the systems working? Where are they not working? And Jerry Green, I would recommend anybody follow Jerry Green. Jerry Green is a dear, dear friend of mine. And he's a guy that coaches and trains some of the big operations that do 20, 30 deals a month. Well, you got to have systems for that. And if you don't have the right systems, the whole thing is going to implode. There's some great books I can recommend. One of them is Atomic Habits. And it's saying you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems.
Wow.
Guys, that's powerful.
That's powerful.
You can write all the goals you want. Don't tell me your goals, show me your systems, right? So last year, 2021, I was looking at what we grossed. Gross, guys, nobody gives a crap about gross. And write this shit down. Gross doesn't buy groceries.
Ooh, I love that.
So I was looking at go ahead, Anthony.
That's a mic drop right there, because it's like we do a deal and we pulled in, I don't know, 300 grand, but we got 100 into it. It doesn't look as good, right? On paper, like, okay, so 30% of that not profit, right? That was just like
the team.
Yeah.
Sounds cooler, but you have to pay agents, you have to pay surveys, engineers, but they put up that gross check, right? And that's not exactly what came through the door.
So yeah, exactly. And so you've got to be very careful about what are the actual numbers. So in 2021, at the end of 2021, I looked at what we made gross. Well, we made that gross on the info product and coaching space with this little machine, but that little machine was held together with duct tape and Google Sheets. All right. So I thought, oh my God, if we made this with this little machine here, imagine if I had the right people in place. So I started doing what I was told to do by the experts, and nothing against them. I made my own mistakes.
Yeah.
I brought in the experts for the funnels, the copy, the creatives, Facebook ads, all the stuff. I've never run Facebook ads before. So now, in order to get this new machine going, what happens to this other machine is eventually it dies because the leads are not going to this machine. They're going to this machine. So the income, the revenue that I was living off of, doing pretty well off of, it goes down. This machine finally kicks on, produces squat. Not just squat, but negative squat.
Damn.
So now I go from making, X amount a month, even net, to now I'm losing 50,000 a month. There's 40 to 50,000 a month in there that I'm losing. That's not off the top of this. That's negative.
Damn.
That I'm having to shell out.
Yep.
And as an entrepreneur, we're ingrained to just keep pushing. This has got to work. This has got to work. This machine has to work. I did everything that I was supposed to do. I did everything I was told to do. And when you're so deep in the weeds, you can't see the snakes. And I don't mean just snakes like bad people. You can't see what's about to bite you.
Yeah.
You got to get someone above to look down and say, hey, this isn't working. Or you got to do it yourself and say, what the hell is not working here? So I had to fire everybody. And like I said, I made so many mistakes. I didn't realize that this little machine I had built that was working pretty well, that there's a saying called burn it down in business. That's where you burn it all down and start from fresh. I accidentally burned it down. Didn't even know I was doing it because I was so deep in the weeds, I couldn't see the snakes, right? And so I burned it down. What I should have done is replaced one component of this little machine at a time. Hey, let's bring in this component, just like if you're jacking with a car engine. Hey, let's not just replace everything. Let's I'm not an engine guy, but hey, let's replace the spark plugs and the wires. You know, let's tune this up. Let's see how this works. Is it working well, or are we losing horsepower somewhere? What's going on here? Get that dialed in, get that machine going, and say, okay, let's bring in this other component now, turbo booster, or whatever it is. You know, let's see how does the engine react to that component I just brought on. Versus let's burn the whole damn thing down and stop that flow of income. So that's very important to scaling, is replacing one component at a time. And where's the kinks in the hose on this other machine that you've built, right? Is it for real estate? Is it your dispo? What is that dispo like? How smooth is it? Where are things falling through the cracks? Get that dialed in. Now let's look at, because most people think, let me bring in all these leads. Let me generate more leads. Well, dude, if you don't have the back end figured out, you're wasting all this money and throwing away all these leads that are literally falling through the cracks because you don't have the dispo worked out. Get that dispo worked out. All right. Now, do we need to bring on a TC person, transaction coordinator? Yes, no. How does that work? You see, you're replacing one part of the machine at a time, saying, how does this react? Okay. Now let's bring in TC. Let's see how this is working. Okay. Where are the gaps here? Where are things falling through the cracks? How can we streamline this so we've got that back end going, right? The exhaust of the engine, if you will.
Yep.
Then say, okay, now let's look at the front end. Where are my acquisition people sucking? Where are they dropping leads? Where are they not doing the follow-up? Right? Get them dialed in. Who do I need to fire? Who's in the wrong seat? If you're looking to bring someone on, I would highly recommend a psychological test. That's not the right word, but a profile test, personality profile test, like predictive index is huge. Some people use the Colby test, but use the predictive index and say, are they even the right seat? You know, if someone's an introvert and a data person, that's not your acquisition person. You need someone that's an extrovert and doesn't really know the data, but can have that conversation with sellers. Get the right people in the right seat. Then work on, once you have that dialed in, then say, now let's start to crank up the leads a little bit. Let's see how this reacts. And now you're scaling. Because what I scaled last year was I was scaling chaos. And it was and from that, I was telling Daniel before he hopped on here, at some point I was sitting here at my desk, like almost in tears, going, I don't know what to do. I literally don't know what to do. And I thought, I got to write a book about this, not about my own journey, about how do you scale a business. Now, I don't have all the answers, right? The answers are in people that have scaled successfully, unsuccessfully, and what lessons they learn. So I thought, I got to write a book about this. So in the universe, literally, it was an Ethernet cable into my cerebral cortex, said, yes, you shall. And here's the name of the book. And I was like, oh my God, I love the name of that book. So I sent it off to my graphics guy. What's that?
Can we get the name?
Yeah, it's called Should I Scale My Business or Slit My Wrist?
Really?
Yeah.
I love it. I freaking love it.
I don't know if you'll be able to. So I had my graphics guy create the cover to it.
Yes.
7 steps to scale without bleeding out. So I had my graphics guy create a graphic for it to give me a visual, right? Give me that motivation.
Yeah.
And well, here we are a year and a half later. I haven't done anything with it. So I was talking to some idea, and this is how you can get down the rabbit holes.
Yep.
From this book idea, I thought, well, I guess I'll do a podcast because I've got to get this information from other people. All the content for that book is not appears in other people.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm just going to put it together. So I'll do a podcast. Well, then, long story made short, conversations with people connected to A&E, people with A&E were like, "Oh, this is a TV show with your personality, John." So I said, "Yeah." Oh my God. So now I'm going down this rabbit hole. So I thought, okay. So I did I would call it a pre-pilot. I thought, okay, I'll go and take a camera crew, go interview these people, right? Because my superpower is just jacking with people, but be it through jacking with them, then being able to pull out, content.
You're an extractor of information through conversation.
Exactly. So we did a pre-pilot in LA with a guy that he actually licensed scratch-off lottery tickets. So if you've ever bought a lottery ticket that had Harley Davidson or whatever on it, he is the guy that licensed those.
Dang.
So when I talk about people that I know people that are multi-millionaires and they don't post the shit on social that, some people do, that's what I'm talking about.
They're not wholesaling mobile homes.
Yeah. I just flipped a septic tank and made 30 grand or, whatever. But from that, I realized, okay, I can't do this because it would cost me out of my pocket about $6 grand per episode.
Yep.
To fly the crew out there, do the editing, all the stuff, the travel. I'm like, okay, I can't do this. So I kind of shelved it. And then I was talking to Robert Allen, who's the guy that got me started in real estate with the book 1 Minute Millionaire, which I recommend everybody get that book and read it. I need to read it again, actually.
1 Minute Millionaire.
1 Minute Millionaire. It's a phenomenal. It's actually the book that got me started in real estate. And get this, it's the same book that got Tim Mai started in real estate back in 2003.
Wow.
So small world. So Robert Allen and I, the guy that wrote it, he's known for No Money Down. He's got 4 or 5 New York Times bestsellers. I saw him in Tampa, and we were talking. He was asking about the book because I told him about it because he'd agreed to help me with it and write the forward to it. I said, well, we're doing this. So it'll probably be, I got to do a podcast. It'll probably be, sometime next year before I start the podcast, blah, blah, blah. And he said, no, you're going to start right now. So we scheduled a call for the next week, got on a Zoom with him. In the next 4 weeks, I'll start a podcast called Should I Scale? And it's going to be about scaling businesses. And I'll bring on some amazing people outside of the real estate world about how do they scale their businesses, what they do right, what they do wrong, what's the psychology of scaling. I've got some amazing, oh my God, I'm so blessed to have my network. I do some amazing people that'll provide the content for the podcast. From that will come the content for the book. And then I'm super excited about it because it'll launch me into a whole other ecosphere of business, not just real estate, but business. People that operate at a higher frequency than I do, right? Get me in those rooms, right? Of people that have multi-million dollar businesses that are not real estate related. And I'm excited to see where that takes me. And I don't care what everybody, that watches this thinks. I certainly believe in the power of the universe. And when the universe said, yeah, you're going to write a book and here's the name of it. I'm a guy that writes copy and writes stuff all the time. I couldn't come up with a better name. So I'm like, oh, I guess I'm going to write this book then, So
I love your name is freaking amazing.
I think anybody in business, I think it'll resonate with them because they're going to go, oh my God, he speaks my language. He speaks my language. It's not going to be your typical business book that could be, boring and dry and oh my God, it's going to be nitty gritty and just stories and great content. So I'm excited about that. Really excited about it.
I love it because right now in today's business environment, the people make you feel like if you don't scale, then you're doing something wrong, right? It's such a cheesy buzzword now.
Yeah.
Daniel and myself, we've kind of been like low paced deals. Sometimes we're doing 8, 12 deals a year, something like that. And until recently, now we're getting contracts hand over fist. But it wasn't until, 5 years of just piecing deals together one at a time, to where we got to a point to where and even right now, I don't think we're ready to scale, right? The way we upped our numbers is by just going after bigger properties. right? So that's the only way. If we did scale our numbers, it was just like the inbound capital based on having larger properties, but then you have larger engineering costs, larger survey costs, larger earnest money, right? So it's still one side is still heavy on the other side. So I think just scaling for the sake of scaling, just so you could get on Facebook and say, hey, I did 40 deals this month. It's absolutely ridiculous and it's reckless.
I would agree. And I would say for both of you on your own to look at what I was just talking about. What are those actual metrics? What's working? What's not working? How does that dispo look, right? Do we have that dialed in as we look to do bigger deals or scale to do more deals? What does that dispo look like? Do we have that dialed in very well? And let's take a hard look at it and look at where the kinks in the hoses. Let's fix that before we try to scale, right? And again, nobody gives a shit about gross. Yeah. So I'm really excited about it, about where it takes me. Something I love is psychology. Why do we think the way we do? And how do we think the way we do? And so I've dove heavy. I tell you where it actually started is, and I know we got a hard stop here in about 18 minutes for myself because I've got another webinar to do. But I stopped drinking in May 25th, 2019. And so after I stopped drinking, I had a lot of time because I had an ankle monitor on. Yeah, no shit. I don't mind telling my story if it helps one person, because I was a shit show. Because part of the shit show was business related, and so I dove heavy into vodka, just about anything. But from that, I dove into psychology. I wanted to find out what the hell was going on back then. Like, what the hell was going on? So I dove into psychology pretty hard into how do we think? Why do we think the way we do? How do we process our thoughts? Where's the ego involved in these decisions we make or the things we say and all of that? And AA, I think everybody needs a 12-step program, to be honest with you. AA, even if you don't drink, AA is based on psychology and processing your thoughts. And so that took me down other paths of diving into, again, psychology, which Atomic Habits, the book Atomic Habits, great book. 12-Week Year is a great book. I recommend everybody go online. I want you to Google the emotional cycle of change. The emotional cycle of change. And Google that. That is a graph that a pair of psychiatrists actually put together back in the 70s. And it perfectly shows you how we are as entrepreneurs. We start off with any idea or project. The greatest idea we've ever had in business is the idea we just had. Oh my God, I'm going to do this and this. It's the greatest thing ever, right? We have uninformed optimism. Uninformed optimism. Then you start getting into it, and I'll relate this to real estate. Then you start getting into it and going, oh, you mean I gotta call sellers? Now you got informed pessimism. So you start going down, and you have enough informed pessimism for long enough, you go into what's called the valley of despair. It's at that valley of despair that you have a choice. You can go back and try to find another shiny object. Oh my God, I'm going to do land, or I'm going to do self-storage, or whatever that shiny object is that you happen to see on Facebook. Guess what happens when you start? Oh my God, it's the greatest thing ever. Now you start off again at uninformed optimism.
Wow.
And then you start learning, oh, you mean I can't just pull a list of self-storage owners like I did single family houses? Now you start going down into informed pessimism. But this cycle continues over and over. I see it in coaching students. When you're in that valley of despair, that's the critical part. That's where the universe is testing you. And where you're being tested by yourself. And you've got to say, what are my systems? What's working? What's not working? And you start tweaking and adjusting and pushing through. Now you have informed optimism, because now you've got information, you're getting some traction, and then you close your first deal. Now you got that shut up check. It doesn't matter. That first check, it could be $100. Doesn't matter. That first check is the most important check. But the emotional cycle of change, everybody needs to see that.
That's amazing, man. Yeah, I definitely want to look at that, because I think we've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I mean, I say this publicly all the time too. Like, I get FOMO too. Like, I love land. I think it's the easiest, coolest thing ever. But I'm like, oh man, that guy he bought 5 self storages in a year and a half or 2 years, and this guy, he owns 100 doors and we have 0.
Yeah.
And I think about kinds of things, and I'm like, it makes me want to like venture off into something else. But I'm glad that Daniel and myself have been stubborn and both crazy enough to stick with land, and we're getting really damn good at it now. Right, our first subdivide took us 12 months to complete. We just completed one in 30 days. Right, but after getting our teeth kicked in for 5 years, right? Yeah. So,
and then it's those 5 years that nobody sees.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what people see? People see the community that you have. They see what you have, not what you went through, right? They don't see that journey. I think as entrepreneurs, and I don't do this enough, it's important to journal the journey.
Yeah.
One of the things I do that I do pretty consistently, but not enough, is, and I got this out of Peaks. There's another great book called Peaks and Valleys. Another great book is The Gap and the Gain. One of the things I recommend is having a notebook, a little journal beside your bed. And every night you write down 3 wins for the day. They could be so small. They don't have to be earth shattering. And then what would be 3 wins for the next day? That keeps your mind in the mindset of the gain, not the gap.
Yeah.
It keeps your mind on the peak, not the valley. And keep in mind, every peak is another peak's valley.
Yep.
You know? Yeah.
What this is, I guess, is how do you come back from such a big loss? Because I think all of us have faced big losses, and they only get bigger. Like you're even alluding to now. Like how do you overcome that loss? Is it like seeking with your family and friends? Is it your mentors? Is it understanding that there's another peak beyond that? There's
3 on the stool of success. There's 3 legs, in my opinion. Those 3 legs are creativity, because creativity will always beat recklessly used money, especially when it comes to marketing. Before you go drop 10 grand on a direct mail campaign, use creativity. So when that shit hit the fan, I still have my creativity. 2, your sphere of influence. I mean, your circle of friends. Who is your network? Who do I know? There's another great book, Who Not How. Who do I know that I can reach out to? That's why, like, I just brought this company on that I've got a call with in 10 minutes to help me. I felt like at this point, I'm in fairly stable area, but not quite. But I knew I had to bring on someone else to see someone that could look up above and see the snakes that were going to bite me. So I brought on this company now to help me solidify that foundation. Where can we use the organic leads I have? Where can we use my list, social, et cetera? And within 45 days, really 45 and 90 days, lay this foundation properly. So again, going back to the stool, creativity, the people in your sphere of influence, who do you know? And then 3 is, if you're married, is a supporting spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the tough one, because you have very little control over that.
Man, if it wasn't, I would be a effing mess, dude. She just empowers me just to go out there and do it. Like, she never doubts me. She never questions me. She just like, I know you're going to do it. You always do it. Like, go for it. And she allows me to work obnoxious amounts of hours. And I probably owe her everything, man.
Man, that's so great to hear. So great to hear, because, you don't always have a supporting spouse. I literally just got a text from someone today who had already paid for the boardroom. And he told me ahead of time, I got to convince the wife. This isn't your wife's journey. This isn't your wife's dream. And so I told him, I said, I'd love to get on a Zoom call with you and your spouse. I'm not going to try to sell you to come to the boardroom. I want to talk to her about, in this case, I said, I want to talk to her about your journey. What is it she's afraid of? Where are her fears? Where does she doubt his ability to execute? Forget about buying anything from me or going to the boardroom. Let's just dive into that. Because I asked him, I said, here's the thing. If your wife is a dentist and she has to buy whatever, $20,000 piece of x-ray equipment or whatever for the practice, you're not going to scream at her and go, nope, we can't afford that right now, blah, blah, blah. You're not a dentist. That's her journey. That's her dream, not yours, right? So like in this guy's case, he was going to spend we already paid $2,500, come spend 3 days in a very intimate setting in a boardroom that's going to change the trajectory of his life forever. Because he's had a W-2 all of his life. He's put real estate on hold for 17 years because of his W-2. And I said, real estate's not your wife's dream. It's your dream. And so I'd love to have a conversation with her, talk to her about that. Not to sell her anything, but just say, whether he works with me or not, I think it's important to have that spouse. So without one of those three legs, you're very, very weakened, very weakened. So
can we go over the three legs again?
Yeah. Creativity, your sphere of influence, your circle of friends. Who do you know? And then a supporting spouse. Man,
that's everything right there. That's everything. Because I feel like, as far as creative goes, I am that guy that wakes up with a brand new idea every single day. Yeah. But I probably an exceptionally good job at redirecting a lot of that into the same thing. Like, how can I take this piece of creativity and inject it back into what we're already doing and what we already know, instead of veering off into something else?
Yeah.
Like, I've many times in my business career, I don't want anybody to think that I got it right the first time. I mean, I've probably had 20 or 25 companies or something on the way up here, and non-companies where you just put a sign on the truck and go. But having that supportive spouse for sure. And then I think, I don't want to knock anybody, right? Because I love everybody equally, but I think our direct sphere of influence, people like yourself, I think we have the best friends on the whole entire planet. Like, if our network never grew, I'm happy with what we have. Such amazing people that love us and support us.
No, absolutely. And that's what's so great about your community that you've built, and why they support you so much. You've poured your heart and soul into it for, many years with Hive Mind. And, that's powerful, man. That's powerful. And think about the impact that y'all are having on other people's lives,
Man, I just got a text yesterday. I'll send you the screenshot privately, but a girl on our team, she came on board about less than 2 months ago, man, and her life was not in an amazing place. She was crying when she called me, and I told her, come on board. Let's see what we can do to help you. And now she's like one of our top sellers right now. And she sent me a screenshot yesterday. She sent me a text. She said, man, I told my mom what I'm doing, and my mom started crying. She was like, she's so proud of me. And I was like, dude. And she was like, you really are changing people's lives. And it's like, man, we're just working, doing what we love. And to get messages like that, man, I was like, man, we didn't sign up for that. That's just bonus.
I love it. As you were talking about that girl, it made me think of when I did the 3-day events, and even in the boardroom, I dive heavy into psychology. Yeah, I've got a whole presentation I do on psychology and how we think and why we think the way we do. And I know we got to run here, but I'm going to leave you all and your audience with the 6 words that kill. This is something I came up with through my own journey. The 6 words that kill. When I say they kill dreams, aspirations. They kill really what could have been. And that is, yeah, but, what if, and if only. When I stopped drinking, the desire for alcohol didn't go away. So I had to be very, very in tune with this. What am I saying to myself when I'm not listening? That's the subconscious, because it's always going. You don't shut it off.
Yeah.
So I took that, what got me sober, I took that, so that anytime I had a thought or desire for alcohol, I'd go, whoa, what am I thinking? Okay, what's going on back here? Right? I took that into the business world and realized that it came down to 6 words. Yeah, but what if only? Yeah, but it's just one drink, John. Yeah, but nobody's around, right? And so, as an example, so when you're looking to get into real estate or start a business, or you're trying to get things going, you're going to have those 6 words, because your subconscious is there. Is there to protect you. You're going to get that all the time. Yeah, but I don't know anything about land. What if I make an offer and I don't have anybody to sell it to, right? If only I knew what Daniel or Anthony know, right? You're going to get these all the time. Shut that shit down, and don't hesitate to stop what you're doing and say, okay, subconscious, I got a pen and paper. What the hell's your problem? And write down what your fears are. What is your subconscious telling you? And when you lay it out on the piece of paper, a lot of times, like, really? That's it? That's all you got? I'm out of here. I got shit to do.
Dude, this was an amazing conversation. I felt like we could have probably went for another full hour.
Yeah.
So we'll call this one part 1. Because
okay.
We definitely got to have you back, man. I would love to go a little bit further down that road with you on psychology. Where can people find you?
Yeah. So if they want to learn about my lease option training, they can go to leaseoptionclasses.com, leaseoptionclasses.com. A lot of good information there. If they want to see it's about an hour-long video of what we do, how we do it, and the systems and everything. I've got another link there. It's called 16kdeals.com. 16k, the number 16k, 16kdeals.com. We call it that because normally our lowest average on any deal nationwide is 16k. So that's where the name came from. But there's a great video there, about an hour long. People can just watch it, see what we do. They can get my stuff there if they want to. But yeah, 16kdeals.com.
Got it.
Thank you. Hey, do you got a hard stop in 60 seconds, or do you have like 2 more minutes?
I got about 1 minute.
Okay, just one quote that you resonate with, that you love.
That I love? I'll tell you a
quote.
powerful one. I'll tell you a powerful one. It came out of a book called The Veil. It's about a guy. Your audience is going to go, what the hell is this guy talking about? It's about a guy. It's a autobiography about a guy that from an early age, he could see demons and angels. He could just see them. And he said this. I want you to listen to this. Lies are the only weapon that demons have.
Ooh.
That gave me chills, bro. Wow.
Boom. Lies are the only weapon that demons have. Think about that in your life, how that affects what you do, the actions you take, the things you say, the things you think.
Woo!
Dude, what a mic drop moment, dude. This is definitely part 1 was amazing. We let you get your day. Thank you for coming out here and hanging out with us, man. It means a lot.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. Love you guys both. Love what you put together, man. Thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you so much.
Take care.
So John Jackson just left. There was a lot to unpack right there. That was the greatest.
We needed an hour easy.
Yeah, and I think I'm gonna have to message him back again to hop on again, because the crazy thing about him is I messaged him probably about a year and a half ago to hop on the podcast, and it never worked out, never happened. And then he ends up coming to our event, and then he's coming full circle a year and a half later. So it's kind of interesting. But the devil's only weapons is lies. Freaking crazy.
That was a great quote, because if you think about it, right, and this is not a super religious channel, but I am religious. I think Daniel has an understanding of God and what God is. We're Mexican, right? So we're typically raised Christian or Catholic. But man, that was strong. I don't care what you believe in, but the lies are the only weapons that demons have. That's pretty much what it is, right? Because it's somebody trying to manipulate, trying to hurt somebody, trying to get into something that they shouldn't be involved in. And it does lead. There's a lot of deception, lots of fraud, lots of tricking people. Wow. I mean, that's crazy, because really, I mean, demon can't beat you up, right? Right. Not for the most part, but that's powerful, man. I got chills on my face when he said that quote. And I don't think I've ever heard anybody's quote do that before.
One of the other crazy things too, and I think it was like self-reflection about him doing 2 events and only one person showing up the second time and nobody the first time. I remember when we did our first year event, me and you, we signed that little dotted line for the hotel, and we're like, is anybody going to show up? And we had that doubt too. But to hear him, I mean, that's crazy. He did it twice, and only one person showed up across the 2. I don't know.
It's resilience too, man, right? Because if that ever happened to me, I feel like, man, that would have probably shut down my speaking career forever. Like, I'm never throwing another event, and he just throws one immediately the same year again. Yeah. Right. And now to see how far he's come and how good of a speaker he is. And I wanted to see a little bit more of the charm that he brings, because had never met him in person before. I saw him in Houston a few months ago, but I would see him always cracking jokes on Facebook. And on Facebook, it's a little bit easier to be witty because you got time to think about it and type it out. But this guy is so on point with the jokes and the comedy and the lightheartedness that he brings. Like, man, he could fill up any room with energy and electricity. So I wanted to draw a little bit of that out of him. So that's why I was like, no, we're doing round 2, because I think we need to have a closer look at him, man, and what he brings. He's amazing. He's such an amazing person. And again, man, it points to, like, I don't know why all these cool people want to be around the Hive Mind, or they want to hang out and chat with us, but it really is humbling, man. It's super cool to know that there's people out there that are like that are kind of on our same wavelength. Super humbling, super amazing.
100%. And I mean, everybody go follow him. He's doing some crazy things. And I think just being in his if you ever get a chance to meet him, you'll see something about him real quick. And you don't have to like, you just watch him. You just watch him from a distance, and you can see him work.
I just told Daniel as soon as John hopped off, I was like, man, we got to get him on. We got to have him MC the next event, because he brings that much electricity to the room. I feel like when we introduce our own speakers, we know them personally, so we can give them a more appropriate introduction. But I think the trade-off of having John on staff with us, we can kind of give him everybody's quick bio for the intro maybe, or maybe we'll do a co-intro with him. But to have him on the MC on a mic can lift up any room, man. I had never seen him in person before. I seen him at Tim Mai's event in Houston. I went to go hang out with find Bridger for that Fun Lunch. He said he was going to be there for Fun Lunch, talking at the event. I didn't even know it was a Tim Mai event. I walk in, see Tim Mai. He's like, "Oh, Anthony, what's up?" Gives me a hug. And then I saw John in there, and I was like, "Hey, dude, I didn't know you were going to be here." He goes, "Are you kidding? I'm the one running this shit show." So he's just that kind of guy, man. He's just super cool and funny, and I wanted you guys to be able to see more of that. So, we're going to make this a dual episode. We have to.
Well, you know what to do. Go like, share, subscribe. We'll see you in the next episode. Stay tuned for part 2. Hopefully we'll bring you along for the ride. Thanks, guys.
Thanks for hanging out with us, y'all. See you soon.
Hey guys, so the Hive Mind is launching a new program where we're helping you work deals that are valued at $1 million and up. If your deal is worth $980,000, we don't want to take a look at it. You can submit those deals to us at submitbigland.com, and we'll help you comp the deals. If it's good, we'll help you close it, and we'll also help you fund it and sell it. Check us out, submitbigland.com, milliondollarmastermind.com, and wholesaling $1 million land deals on Facebook. Thanks, guys.